So today we are going to look at the dubious government headline unemployment figure, which was 5.3% in the September quarter. Now this is the number that the government uses when planning the budget and deciding on future spending. You may or may not have been aware that this 5.3% figure is a number that comes from a Household Labour Force Survey, or HLFS, where Stats New Zealand collects responses from 15,000 households representing 30,000 individuals. Now this is obviously a tiny sample size. In fact, 30,000 divided by 5.3 million equals 0.57% of the population. So they calculate the country's unemployment rate from responses in a survey from 0.57% of the population. So what we are going to do now is compare this number with the actual numbers from the Ministry of Social Development, or MSD, who are responsible for Work and Income New Zealand, or WINZ. I mean, surely looking at the actual numbers of people who are claiming benefit would be a much better way to start looking into unemployment numbers than a small survey, don't you think? So here is the site that we're going to be looking at, and there is a link to it in the description. It shows the number of job seeker support recipients for each region, and it shows the percentages of the working age population who are on job seeker support for each region. Now right away we can see that most regions have over 5.3% unemployment. In fact, if we go through them, Auckland's unemployment rate is 6.9%, which is up from 6.4% in November 2024. The Bay of Plenty's unemployment rate is 8.4%, which is up from 8.3% in November 2024. Canterbury's unemployment rate is 4.9%, which is up from 4.8% in November 2024. The Central North Island region's unemployment rate is 7.4%, which is up from 6.7% in November 2024. East Coast unemployment rate is 7.7%, which is up from 7.1% in November 2024. Nelson's unemployment rate is 6%, which is up from 5.7% in November 2024. Northland's unemployment rate is 11.5%, which is up from 11.1% in November 2024. The Southern region's unemployment rate is 4%, which is actually down from 4.1% in November 2024. Taranaki's unemployment rate is 7.2%, which is the same as last year. Waikato's unemployment rate is 7.5%, which is up from 7.3% in November 2024. And Wellington's unemployment rate is 6.1%, which is up from 5.7% in November 2024. So to calculate the number of unemployed job seekers across all of New Zealand, which is not even all unemployed people, because it is very important to understand that many unemployed people will not be signing on to job seekers. All we have to do is add up this column here, which shows the working age resident population for each region. The last count of this must have been in June 2025, but it probably won't be too much different than now. So we've got 1,173,980 plus 238,550 plus 389,450 plus 139,730 plus 131,320 plus 114,590 plus 108,750 plus 258,640 plus 125,300 plus 247,150 plus 308,340. So that comes to 3,235,800 Kiwis of working age. Now if we divide the number of job seeker support recipients by the number of working age resident Kiwis, we get 216,288 divided by 3,235,800, which equals 6.7%. And I must stress once again that this figure does not include unemployed people who have not signed on to job seekers for whatever reason. Now perhaps they have savings that they're living off and are hoping to get a job soon. So in reality the figure will almost certainly be higher than 6.7%. How much higher? I've got no idea. So I ask you, can you also see that there is a major problem with the official 5.3% value, which is obtained from surveying 0.57% of the population? And can anyone tell me why the government prefers this very lacking method over just using the actual MSD data? I mean, the MSD is a government agency with all of the precise data right at their fingertips. So why do they insist on carrying out a tiny, vague survey to get the unemployment numbers instead? And does anybody else find it highly suspicious that the government has decided to use data that is very dubious to say the least, and which is clearly underestimating the actual numbers of unemployed people that are currently in New Zealand? So when you see such high unemployment levels, it leads you to the pressing question. With this many people looking for work that, let's face it, is just not there, how do you think that Luxon's trade deal that opens up the borders to an unlimited number of Indian students who will get legal working rights is going to improve this situation? Personally, I believe that it is going to make things much, much worse. But that is just my opinion, and you have yours. So why don't you add it in the comments section and see how we go? And for the many negative commenters on my last video, can I just say a big thank you? You have ensured that this channel is now going to be moving up a notch. There is a new fire in the belly, guys. And with the election year almost upon us, I can assure you that things are going to get very tasty from here. So let's just say Labour has got a big decision to make if they are to remain relevant. Do they support a trade deal that crushes unemployed and young Kiwis but makes bosses and landlords richer? A deal that is obviously more about the movement of people than actual trade? Or do they completely reject it? If they do sign up to this deal as it is, then they are finished as an alternative party and they will officially join National in the Uni-Party alliance. And it will be up to a small player to push forward and do the heavy lifting from now on. A party who puts Kiwis' interests above other countries' interests, you know, like any New Zealand government should. So yes guys, this year is going to be epic. And if you are a critical thinker who can see right from wrong and who wants what's best for New Zealand, then please do like and subscribe to this channel. But if that doesn't sound like your skill set, then that's fine. There are much better channels out there for you. So please go and subscribe to them instead. I'm sure they would appreciate the extra subs. But unlike other channels, this one only wants quality subs and not quantity subs. So yes guys, thanks for watching and Godspeed to you all into the new year. And I will see you on the other side. Cheers for that.